I was in recovery for 3-ish years before, so it's interesting to like my perception of that now is so different from what it was then. Like, I understand now that it takes effort and like I have to be grounded in it. All, like, you know, in a very real way. I don't have it, you know what I mean?
Hi, my name is Isabel Donnelly. Welcome back to The Sober Spill. Today I am here with Leah, the woman who taught me how to chop an onion. And one of the coolest people I know. Like, I always thought you had you're like a forest fairy to me.
Oh,
and I think that's also has to do with the herbalism. But for the people that don't know you, who are you?
I'm Leah. I am a person in recovery. I'm an herbalist. I'm a writer, I guess. Yeah, I'm just a person.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. I feel like if someone comes in and they're like, I do, it's like a lot of ego.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so it's good when it's just like, I don't know, I'm just like here.
Yeah, I really am just here.
Yeah,
you know?
That's all you can be, dude. Where your feet are. But I met Leah. We were working. One of my first jobs in recovery, I was working in the kitchen of a treatment center. And Leah was working there. And at the time, I don't know why I got hired. I didn't know how to, or the guy that was working there was actively using drugs. And he heard me speak at a meeting and then hired me based off of that. So I don't know if I briefly gave him hope for a better life maybe. But I didn't know how to do anything. But you were there, a couple other people were there. And you also taught me the power of eating plant-based to a certain extent, that it can be tasty. It's not just wet tofu.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. But so when... You're from Jersey.
Yes.
You followed fish.
Yes.
You've done all of the classic stuff. Where did you first learn that you had a problem, just to get into it?
Yeah. I guess I'm from North Jersey, not far from here where we are in the city right now. And I was, into drugs in high school, but very normal, weed and alcohol. And then when I went to Kutztown University for a year, which was not a good idea because I just wasn't a function. I just had no vision of what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was experiment really with drugs. Once I got out of my parents' supervision, I was trying a lot of psychedelics, and then oxys and pills were really big at that time. And that's really when I got introduced to that, was in 2008. And I think I knew pretty quickly that it was compulsive, but I also didn't understand that it was something that I wouldn't have the power to stop when I was ready. I think I always kind of told, even in that early on time, even with friends that I would use with, were this is maybe a little bit out of line. This is a little bit much, but we got it. When we're we just want to be doing this. When we don't want to be doing it anymore, we will be able to not.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's my mom used to be she's if it's really just a choice, go a week without using. And I would rationalize it. I'm I don't need to eat peanut butter and jellies every day. I like eating peanut butter and jellies. So why would I not have one every day? But I don't have to. I just want to. And she was oh my God.
Yeah.
But you've talked about, your take on the DARE program always stuck with me, where you told me that when you were in a DARE class, that you were oh my God, this stuff must be good.
Yeah.
People are throwing away their lives for it.
Actually, a funny anecdote is that I won the DARE essay contest in 5th grade. And my mom has broken that out in times of struggle where it was the battle of you need help. Remember this?
Did she read it back to you?
She left it in my room or something like that. And I think I did read it. I can't remember now, but the premise of because the DARE program kind of taught you that you would only use drugs to fit in. It would be people would offer it to you and you would want to be cool. Yeah. And I was very against the idea of wanting to be cool. Yeah. From a young age, I guess, So yeah. But it's so interesting because I don't think the DARE program exists anymore, but it was something that was very much present when I was growing up. And
Yeah, it's like the remnants of the war on drugs.
they're telling like 5th graders about heroin and crack. And it's like,
Yeah.
we don't even know. I mean, most kids that age probably don't know what that is. So it's just
Yeah.
interesting to be presenting them with this information.
It reminds me of that SNL skit. I don't know if you've seen it, where they like bring Dare to school and one kid's like, hell yeah, give me some crack. They're like, what do you say if someone offers you crack? And she's like, light it up, like something like that.
That's
and they're
hilarious.
like, no, stop. But no, it's so true. It's like, ooh, if I've got to be warned about this, it must be a good time.
There must be something. It's like that
Yeah.
mystery thing. It's like the dangling, whatever, the dangling carrot or whatever.
Yeah.
And on my brain, I was just like, I don't know what they're saying, but they're saying that people give up their house and their family for this thing. So it sounds interesting at the very least to my 5th grade brain.
Yeah, it's worth at least like taking a gander, and checking it out.
Which, I mean, my whole, I think, experience with like substances, it always begins with exploration, so it's like when you're in recovery, you have a lot of bad times and you can reflect on and like sort of demonize your experience as like an addict. But, the beginning is this sort of exploratory thing. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with wanting to explore different levels of consciousness. But obviously, for people like us, it can become, it can ruin your whole fucking life.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I think it's normal to like want to check stuff out. It's just when it's like, I can't stop. Now I'm huffing paint thinner. That's like weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how did we get here? And so if you knew that you had a problem, or at least were using abnormally in college, when was the first time you made an effort to get sober?
So it wasn't really that long after that. So that was I didn't stay at that college. I basically failed out, and then I moved back to North Jersey. And I continued to like sniff oxys, and then I was living with my parents, and my mom was starting to be like, yo, what the fuck is going on with you? And just to sort of get them off my back, I did go to my first NA meeting when I was like 21. At the time, there were no women in there.
Yeah.
And at least where I was, like, nobody had any time. So, but I also was not really sure what I was doing there. And the people that were in there had been through it, and I hadn't yet. So there were things that I heard in there that I think like I connected with, but there was enough difference for me to focus more on like the comparison than the identification. And I just wasn't done yet.
Yeah, you weren't ready.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I know when I went to rehab for the first time, I was like, ooh, there's a great big world out there that I haven't explored yet. Like there's so much and that's like a classic pipeline. Like you're never going to know at the right time. And I know I was overdosing and stuff, but I was like, there's more to be revealed. I got to check this out.
Right.
And so sometimes it's like a learning experience in a negative way.
Yeah. So before I met you, I went to my first treatment in 2015. And that's when I moved to Connecticut after I got out of there into a recovery house. And I was 25. And I was in recovery for a little less than 4 years. And if you asked me then, like when you and I were working together, like I was really done. Like I had been really rooted in recovery and self-growth. And but I wasn't done.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I found out later.
Yeah, and that's I think why I also thought you were so cool, because it's like long-term recovery seemed like first off, like a year felt long-term to me, in the beginning, but I was like, ooh, she's got it figured out. She smokes cigarettes and like knows how to cook tofu, right? Like she's so cool. So I know sometimes on our break you'd take me, like, I gotta get cigarettes, and I'd be in your car, and I was like, oh my God, like.
You were definitely, I used to call you my prodigy. You were my favorite person, and you are my favorite person.
And so you ended up leaving Turnbridge for like a number of reasons, but also because you're moving back to Jersey to be with Brian, your ex-boyfriend. And when did that start? Like, when did you meet him?
So probably, well, okay. We were together for a year before I moved down to South Jersey. We met through his Poppin' Instagram account. He was a meme king.
Yeah, was it Shakedown Street? I was wondering.
Yeah.
I'm like, was it the kind of thing where you messaged and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, and for the people at home, check it out if you like, you know, the Grateful Dead and you want to laugh. Funniest person ever. Still up. It's shakedown_screet with a K.
Important.
Yeah. But yeah, he slid into the DMs.
Oh.
So I didn't, this was like a while ago, you know, this was in like 2017. I wasn't like a big, not the internet was new to me, but like you know, whatever. I didn't know that memes were made by people. Like, I just didn't really understand how it worked, but I would see his account and it was so funny. But I wasn't sure, is that one person? Is it multiple people? Like, how does this happen? Which sounds ridiculous now.
No, I get it. It's like an entity. I'm like, because some of them are faceless too. Like some of them are anonymous.
Yeah. And his was, you know, and so but I thought he was so funny. And then he messaged me. He followed me. I think he could see that I was in recovery through my like posting. And he was trying to get clean himself. So we started talking in like the DMs. And then one day he like called me on the phone and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know this person. But it was crazy. Like the moment that I answered the phone, like it didn't feel strange at all. Like he was like a familiar person to me.
Yeah, it's like a soul connection.
Yeah. So, and interestingly enough, we both grew up in like neighboring towns in North Jersey, but we didn't know each other. He was 5 years older than me. So yeah, so we met that way. And then for about a year, I would come down to South Jersey from Connecticut, or he would come up. And then, you know, we decided to move in together. So when I say South Jersey, I mean Atlantic City. It's like like thinking back of like, I would think I was already kind of like, once I got into a relationship with him, once I fell in love, I started to really like drop off on a lot of the things that I was doing to grow and keep myself stable. I'm very codependent. And it's rough because I did so much work in that time. Like in my first time in recovery, I was celibate for a year. I was not really dating. So I was doing a lot of work because I had been in very long-term relationships before that. I had never been single as an adult. And it was my first time being sober as an adult. So I had done a lot of work on you know, the codependent stuff. And then the second that I like kind of met someone that I really cared about, it all just like kind of slowly faded away.
Yeah, I don't think it's uncommon either.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something like very human about codependency. Like we look for somebody to like rely on and to like survive with, like you know, but and then that can just so easily become this thing where we're like neglecting our own kind of well-being and stuff for the sake of the relationship, and you becomes like one instead of two.
Yeah, it becomes very enmeshed, and that's why I've always been conscious, because they talk about this in the Big Book too, where they're like, boy meets girl on AA campus, and I'm like, that sounds like a shit show. Like, that sounds like a nightmare, until you find someone that does like their own stuff, and you do it separate, and you like don't sit together and that kind of thing. But yeah, I also for a long time had a super tendency, and now I still am kind of like, I'm like, where are you? Like, what are you doing? But it's less damaging because I have like my own life outside of that. Like I have so many people and like enriching relationships, and it's not my whole world.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, especially once you move down and you moved in together in Jersey, like you're starting over there to a certain extent too.
I didn't have like a job planned or anything.
Yeah.
I had some money saved, but yeah, I was gonna say like anyone could have been like, if you're kind of faltering in your like stability and you're moving to Atlantic City, like you're gonna fucking relapse.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that, you know. And so yeah, when I remember like the early months of us living together was tough. Like I was looking for a job, and we had been in a long distance relationship. So like,
and now you're like, yeah,
it was different to be around each other all the time, and we had to learn to like live together.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty quickly we started to just reincorporate different substances. And it was like I don't want to say like manageable, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
totally exploded until COVID hit. So like before that, it was, it was like a lot of drinking, weed, coke, ketamine. And then when COVID hit, it sounds maybe silly to some people, we relapsed on hard drugs. Some people would say that those might be hard drugs, but like,
I know what you
crack
mean.
and fentanyl. And I had gotten sober kind of before fentanyl. So that was like
Yeah,
a
its own
totally,
beast.
yeah. I didn't realize, like really like how different it was.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was that like, so from COVID to the spring of 2021. So it was about a year of like really hard using. Um, a lot of overdoses, but we always had Narcan. So like I think I fell into this like false kind of like confidence or like saviorism that if you have, I'm all about harm reduction.
Yeah.
I thought if you have these things in the house, it'll always be okay. But Brian eventually passed away, and it's like this fucked thing of like, well, what if you're not conscious? And that's obviously what happened. Um so yeah, like the worst possible thing happened. So, but yeah, so for that there was like that hard year of using, and then we both went into treatment. Um and then we were back in recovery for 6 months, and then in the fall of 2021 we relapsed again, and it was only about a month until Brian passed away.
And that's a scary thing, especially like Narcan as like things get stronger too. Like I've had a sponsee that had to get hit with Narcan 5 times before she came back,
Yeah.
and yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
And that's a familiar story, unfortunately, too, where there's so many times like something like that happens where it's one person is able to get Narcan and get back up and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, Pat McCarthy here, calling all Mountainside alumni. Join us for our 11th annual alumni reunion on Saturday, October 4th. A special day for sober connection and community. Reconnect with friends, meet staff, and enjoy wellness activities designed to support your journey. You don't want to miss out. Reach out to Isabel Donnelly at isabel.donnelly@mountainside.com. Can't wait to see you there.
So when that happened, I mean, that's like unimaginable, but when that happened, what did you do? Like after that, did you get back into recovery or how did that go?
Yeah. So, so Brian died, and then it was like I woke up and Brian was like, and then I called obviously 911, this whole like traumatic thing, but I was so unwell, like, and so for like, I think it was like 11 days before I could get into treatment. So there were the services for him and everything. But I pretty much immediately put myself on Suboxone, and I was still smoking a lot of crack, taking benzos. But I almost think that was like the best thing for me to survive those days before I could get into treatment.
Yeah.
Because if I wouldn't have missed the service, but if I had been, I don't know if I could have done that sober. Like I truly don't,
No, that makes
I wanted to
sense.
die.
Yeah.
So I went into a detox, and then when I got into the detox, then I'm off of these substances. Like I started to have this insane kind of like, it wouldn't be PTSD yet, but like this trauma loop of like seeing him that way. Luckily, my therapist that I had been already working with for the past few years worked at that treatment facility as well. She had a private practice and she worked at that facility. She did, as soon as I got out of the detox, went to the treatment side. She started to do something with me called brain spotting, which is a type of trauma therapy. And I can't speak to it, from like the most intellectual place, but from what I understand, if you do brain spotting within the first like 6 months of a traumatic event, it can keep it from setting roots in your brain and becoming PTSD. And it really, really helped. Like I stopped having, if I really tried, I can picture that in my mind, but hardly. But
Yeah.
in that time, like, it was just like all I could see.
Yeah, and that's not a good because with PTSD, it's like it's not just a memory of it. It's like you're living it all over again, especially with any traumatic event like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so being able to lay that down so that way it didn't follow you forever, at least in a way that was like debilitating to like your ability to like stay where your feet are.
Yes. Yeah. And so then I was back in recovery for 6 months. And then this is like thinking back on this time is so crazy. So obviously Brian passed away. I lost my partner. Also he was going to propose to me. So it was like, this was like this was my dude. You know what I mean? This was my like, I would have married him.
It's like losing a future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then losing, obviously, like, it's like losing your sense of home, like, completely, as well as like the home that we shared. Like, I had to move out of there.
Yeah, literally and emotional. Yeah, in every sense of the word.
So I went to treatment. When I got out of treatment, I went to one recovery house. Then I moved to another recovery house. And this was an Oxford house. And it had bed bugs. I didn't find that out. Nobody told us that until my roommate and I were in there and we were getting bit. Mm-hmm. And then the house was also, I guess I don't want to take too much time explaining this, but like the house was in debt to like the utility companies.
Oh.
But it's Oxford. So there's nobody who, it's paid for by the clients.
Yeah.
And so then there wasn't money to treat the bed bugs. And then they also didn't have a lease signed with the landlord. So he decided after we did get a bed bug treatment place to like let us do a payment plan. Mm-hmm. The landlord took the house back.
Oh, nice.
And so it was like Brian passed. I had lost my sense of home. I was looking to get stability, mm-hmm. and it just like wasn't like where I was, like it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So then I used again for like a week, and then I went back into treatment for the last time, mm-hmm. hopefully. Yeah. And that was over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting because, like I said, I was in recovery for 3-ish years before. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to like my perception of that now is so different from what it was then. Like, I understand now that it takes effort and like I have to be grounded in it.
Yeah.
All, like, you know, in a very real way. I don't have it. You know what I mean?
100%. That's the first time I got sober. I was like, this doesn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. And then it took me getting sober again and being like, oh, it's because I wasn't doing anything. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't work for me. So I'd go to a meeting and then I would leave and smoke cigarettes outside for like the latter half. And I wouldn't take any action against it aside from like sitting in self-pity. That was like my main thing.
Yes.
Like a hobby.
Yes.
Yeah. So now is there any sort of like wistfulness kind of coming up on the threshold of like surpassing the last time you got sober? Because I know there can kind of be sometimes like when's the other shoe gonna drop kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there was sort of leading up to like the 3-year mark. Mm-hmm. But also I feel like a lot of that stuff about like counting the time, like this is so corny. It really is just today. Yeah. It really is. I know everybody says that's a cliche, but like it really is. And I think having the experiences that I've had up until this point really obliterated any of like the egoic kind of attachment to like, I have this much time and like that means that I'm okay. Like, I feel like, and it's like tough to carry on. Everything looking back is sort of shattered, and now everything today is like affected by that. But it's in like the flip side of this absolute like heartbreaking catastrophe is I have an ability to see things a lot differently and like really understand that I can't do things in like a topical way.
Yeah.
I can't shortchange myself that way. I can, but it doesn't get me anywhere. Or, you know, I'm like, it's, I really want to be supported by myself. And like, I have to look for that. Like, I can't just like go to meetings to be like in the social, like, you know, like socializing is a good part of like recovery, but I think it can really be like, if it can be for someone like me, it can be distracting. And so, yeah, I don't know what I was getting at with that, but like,
No, it makes sense. You can't pick and choose the stuff you're doing. You can't make one thing your whole thing.
mm-hmm.
And how
Yeah.
was this for your family through all of this too?
Yeah. Well, my family was amazing. They came to the services for Brian and they were like, it was like when there's a crisis and people are just like there, like actually for you. And my, cause like the whole thing is very uncomfortable because I'm like, was actively still using. And my parents were just like, we're here. Like, like we're just going to let you not kill yourself before we can get you into the treatment.
Yeah.
And I got also in another wreckage from that sort of era was I got arrested twice and I had like I got arrested for like it was like a bunch of felonies. I fought it was like a whole fucking thing. So then I had to deal with that also.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you beat the case. You didn't do the race.
Yeah.
It's the reverse take. It's especially anything with a cop too. That's usually I have a friend who bit a cop and she had to
Yeah,
they don't like that.
They don't.
No.
Yeah, they really don't.
They're decidedly against that.
Yeah, that's a good story. It's a long one, so
yeah, it'll be another time.
Okay.
But with the herbalism, 'cause that's something you talked about, and you had a whole company for that. Do you still do that?
I don't. So I started that when I lived in Connecticut. That time is when I went to herbal medicine school.
Yeah.
And then I started making products and selling them at like different markets and stuff. And I never really was super successful doing it online. But I had a lot of fun doing it at markets. But it was always like, it was something that I didn't think was like, I was never like super proud of it and didn't see it as like a real thing. And now it's like totally different because I do this for a living and get a salary to do it. But I don't do it as like my own thing anymore. Now I work for this nonprofit and I make herbal products there. I also farm. So I farm all of the herbs that I make products with. I teach workshops. I give like farm tours and like different educational things.
Yeah, I always see the different like workshops or all of the different plants you're dealing with. And I remember I got a cold one time. You made me like an elderberry, a syrup of some sort.
I know. I wanted to bring you a bunch of stuff. It was just like too chaotic. So I did bring you flowers, but I want to send you some stuff. Definitely.
Would be so into that. Yeah. For anybody, we have a bag here. It's got a whole watermelon, a bunch of flowers and some like diced up melon, which felt very appropriate. Like watching you pull up with like a bag full of stuff like that. But no, yeah, I always think that's so cool. You can have a real career like on Etsy now because people are paying Etsy witches to put curses on people and stuff.
True.
So you can get into that.
True. And I do. I mean, you know what? I think getting to do this work for like, because I had so much insecurity my whole life.
Yeah.
That like underscores this entire story, And I just never really saw what I was doing as like a real thing. Even cooking, like I just was like, you're not that good at it. You know what I mean? Like, and getting to build my confidence at the place that I currently work for I've been there for about 3 years. So that's been really amazing for me. And I now see my work as legitimate.
Yeah.
There's always imposter syndrome like looming, but I think I know it now rather than like taking it as fact.
I don't know, it still feels so real to me. Like this happened last year. I was winning an award for work, but I heard that the executive team was looking for me and I'm like, I'm getting fired. And I called my mom and I called my fiance. I'm like, this is it, guys. Like, this is the end of the line for old Isabel. And they all showed up and they're like, you're doing good. Here's a dinner. But it's an imposter syndrome where I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm a drug addict. Like, what do I know? Why do you want me to do things?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very real thing. And even like what you were saying earlier, you're like, I guess I was the head chef there and you've been to culinary school, but it's like, you're like, I don't know, I'm just messing around in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so what do you do? So you run workshops? What kind of workshops do you run now?
So Well, one of my favorite things to do is to actually take people outside into the growing spaces and like
Yeah.
introduce them to plants, and they can
Yeah.
have a sensory experience. Because there's like I can talk to people about plants all day, but if they don't see it and like smell it and even taste it, they might not understand as much. So that's really fun. I love doing that. We have like an herbal garden, so I'll take people through there, encourage people to pick stuff, talk about the properties of the plant, if it's native or not. And then throughout the colder seasons, I do indoor workshops where I teach people how to make different like healing remedies. And that is so awesome also. Like that's something that I feel very passionate about herbalism, because like the wellness industry is like a probably multi-billion-dollar industry. There's a lot of frauds and kooks doing all kinds of shit, you know?
Oh yeah.
But something that really connects for me is being able to introduce people to plants and introduce them to like health sovereignty, where it's like, you can do this. Like, I'll show you how to do it, and you can do it, and you can make this for your family, and you can support yourselves through like the, elderberry syrup, whatever, like something like that, through the cold and flu season. So yeah, there's such a disconnect between like people and sort of the natural world. So yeah, even more than like selling products, like I really love to provide the educational piece and just have that connection with people too, and like watch them be like, wow, like interested in and something click for them.
If anyone's interested in like learning more about this, where do they go to learn more about it?
About what I do?
Yeah, like workshops, like if they wanted to get involved or do something like that with you.
Yeah. So they can check out the Instagram for where I work. It's at Reed's Farm. And then the website is, I think it's just reedsfarm.com, or a meaningful purpose at Reed's Farm.
Imagine it takes you somewhere crazy. Right. You're just like speculating. Just like
oh my God. I was like just envisioning one of those like really graphic like websites from like the 2000s that like, I don't know, there was like
no, that happened.
lemonparty.com.
Yeah, well there's a sober house in Maine that had like it was like ginger something, and they looked it up, and it was just like a bunch of like pop-ups started coming up, like it was a whole thing. Yeah, because it was just like one letter off. But yeah, and we'll link that all in the description below too.
I want to post more stuff on my personal Instagram. I think I will. It's like a goal of mine. But I just haven't yet. My personal Instagram is just like pictures of me and people that I love.
And that's good enough. We're into that too.
And that's where I share my writing too.
Yeah.
But I would like to like also maybe make one of those WordPress or whatever, where you can like almost like publish your own like
a
things
Substack.
a Substack.
Yeah, because you write about grief so beautifully, and you put it on your story so it like disappears, but I'll like hold on to it so I can read the whole thing, because it's such a, I mean, grief is such a visceral experience. And it reminds me of, have you seen Fleabag? There's a show Flea where a lot of it's like dealing with grief, like she loses a good friend, and she's talking about, she's like, I have all of this love and it's hers and I can't give it to her, and now I don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
And so grief is such, I think for anyone that's experienced it, such like a physical experience, like a physical heaviness, and you're able to write about it in such a beautiful way that makes meaning out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you have to do.
I feel like that is something that I just have to do as like, and it's not all the time, but like when I'm able to actually like emote that way, I don't know. I feel like it's important for me. And people, grief is such a taboo like in our society. So I do feel like it's important to talk about, because everyone experiences death. And also like there's not, like you can't always connect to other people about it. So just to get it somewhere, just to get the thoughts and the feelings kind of somewhere.
Yeah, and also that it's not a linear timeline. Like some days it feels like it just happened yesterday, and some days it feels like it happened 10 years ago. Like there's no timeline for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm always like, it's like, yeah, exactly what you just said. Different periods. Recently, I'm just like like, I wonder what Brian would say about all this, like all this stuff that's going on in the world. You know, I'm like, that's the person that I would want to talk to. But I can kind of connect with him in my mind sometimes, and sometimes I can't, and that sucks. You know, I've learned to be more. This is another thing of the grief process. Like early on, like, you know, people will be like, oh, like you can get signs from like somebody who's passed away. Like early on, I was like talking myself out of it. Anytime that I like, you know, felt like a moment, it's like, no, that's like, I would just logicalize it. Like, no, that's just like, you know, and then I realized like, I don't have to do that. And like, it doesn't have to be proven or not. And I can choose to believe in connection if I want to. And so I do most of the time.
Yeah.
And then I have this like logical part of myself that is annoying and doesn't want
the duality of man.
Yeah.
All right, sweet, dude. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
This is for you, Dan Williams. Wherever you are, girl. We love you and we're thinking of you. But yeah, so check out Leah. We'll have stuff for her socials and for like the workshop she's doing linked down below. But yeah, dude, let's eat some melon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, Mountainside can help. Call 860-365-6764 to speak with our caring treatment team.